We can map the physical structures of the human brain down to the individual neuron. We can track the precise electrical impulses that fire when you taste an apple, hear a song, or feel pain. Yet, modern biology is entirely unable to explain why those cold mechanical processes actually generate the subjective internal feeling of being alive. Traditional materialist models treat awareness as a mere byproduct of biological computation, but treating the mind as a complex flesh calculator fails to explain the seamless, unified sense of self we experience every waking moment. To bridge this intellectual vacuum, a new theoretical framework suggests we have to abandon the idea that subjectivity is a biological accident. Instead, we have to look at the mind through the lens of fundamental physics. The relativistic Theo-Mathematical theory of consciousness, or TMTC 2.0, proposes that consciousness is an actual physical field woven directly into the fabric of the universe. This diagram illustrates the standard physical fields we already know, like electromagnetism and gravity. TMTC 2.0 introduces a new layer right alongside them, a scalar field called phi-c. It exists in the vacuum of space, operating much like the Higgs field, but instead of giving particles mass, it provides the physical capacity for phenomenal experience. If awareness is an intrinsic physical force rather than a quirk of evolution, it means the laws of physics do not just describe the movement of matter, they describe the emergence of the observer itself. Phi-c is mathematically defined as a Lorentz invariant scalar field. In this model, awareness is measured by something called conscious density. The denser a physical object's connection to this geometric field, the higher its capacity to perceive reality. To understand how this works in practice, we have to borrow from Albert Einstein's general relativity. Physical time isn't an absolute ticking clock. It bends and stretches depending on the observer's frame of reference. This equation represents the scalar clock mechanism. It shows how our brain decodes invariant, four-dimensional intervals of spacetime into the lived, three-dimensional present. The subjective flow of time you experience, represented by tau on the left, is calculated by multiplying physical time by the conscious density field, phi-c. When a person enters a state of high awareness, like deep meditation or a creative flow state, their conscious density spikes. Because phi-c acts as a multiplier, this spike literally inflates the integral. A single physical second stretches into a massively expanded subjective duration. The feeling that time is slowing down isn't a psychological trick played by your memory. Under this framework, it is an actual physical modulation of the spacetime metric, happening within the geometry of your mind. But this raises an immediate logistical problem. How does warm, wet biological brain tissue successfully connect to a relativistic cosmic field without the signal completely falling apart? The answer relies on recent updates to the OR theory, originally pioneered by Nobel laureate Roger Penrose. The updated theory posits that human awareness requires highly fragile quantum entanglement to exist deep within our neural architecture. The biological hardware making this possible is myelin. These fatty sheaths wrap around our nerve fibers, acting as precise biological insulators. They physically shield delicate quantum states from the chaotic thermal noise of the surrounding brain matter. By preventing those quantum states from collapsing into classical physics, a process called decoherence, myelin allows the phi-c field to synchronize across widely distributed neural networks. This synchronization creates a unified, high-level sense of awareness. TMTC reclassifies mental health disorders as field disruptions. When the coupling between the brain and phi-c is compromised, the scalar clock desynchronizes, leading to the distorted perceptions of time and reality often seen in schizophrenia, not as a chemical error, but as a failure to decode the geometry of spacetime. Mental illness in this context is a structural loss of quantum protection. It temporarily severs the brain's synchronized connection to the geometric architecture of the universe. While mapping the mind to the cosmos sounds philosophical, TMTC 2.0 is designed as hard physics. It requires strict falsifiability through the scientific method. The primary empirical test involves using advanced quantum computer-brain interfaces. Researchers link the consciousness fields of specially prepared subjects, like twins, and assign them isolated decision-making tasks to look for highly correlated choices. This chart illustrates the benchmark for success in these trials. To prove the field exists, scientists monitor EEG signals for entanglement proxies. They are specifically looking for neural data that crosses this threshold, a Bell inequality violation greater than 2, during tasks requiring high awareness. The parameters for failure are equally clear. If the subject's brain activity and decisions only demonstrate classical, local correlations, the theory is wrong. But if that empirical threshold is crossed, it definitively proves that human awareness is fundamentally non-local. It would mean our minds are entangled across the geometric fabric of reality, rather than being confined inside a single skull. Zooming out to the cosmic scale, the math suggests that extremely dense regions of physi, like a highly alert human brain, can actually back-react on the space-time metric itself, causing incredibly subtle gravitational perturbations. The ultimate conclusion of this physics framework is that consciousness is a structural, mathematical pillar of the universe, guaranteeing the logical consistency of reality. The division between the physical body and the ethereal mind is a scientific illusion. We are simply the universe's way of decoding its own physical geometry into the vibrant experience of life. If you enjoyed this video, please give a like and subscribe. And what would be really helpful would be some suggestions for future videos. Today's video was brought to you by Synestex Systems LLC, founded by Shane Persinger.